In this episode of Travelogue, we'll immerse ourselves in the culture of the Li people as we check out their thatch roof homes and legendary brocade. We'll literally have our heads in the clouds and taste some of Hainan's edible snow. So, stay tuned. Wow, that is all I can say. You know what, we've just driven deep into the mountains, and right below me are 150 thatched roof huts that belong to the indigenous Li people, the people who first came to Hainan a couple thousand years ago. And to be honest, I can see why. I mean, just look at it, it's a complete tropical paradise. But if you thought the last episode shows you a completely new side of Hainan, well, you're in for a treat. I'm Teren, welcome to Travelogue, and welcome to our Western Hainan series. There are few better places than Western Hainan to experience authentic Li culture. But I do suggest hiring a car to get around. The Li were the first people to arrive on Hainan, having crossed the sea from southern China. They have no written language, so it's hard to say exactly when they arrived, but most experts agree it was 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. Here in the mountains, you can still find traditional Li villages. And although many people have moved to the cities, some still prefer the life here. In order to preserve these huts and improve the standard of living, the government has built new homes for the villagers. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, I was walking around this village earlier and it seemed like it was a ghost town, mostly because everyone's moved, all of the Li people have moved over to the other side in new buildings, but there are still people who live here, and I do have to say, I think I prefer the old ones because they're a lot more comfortable, and it feels like this is still the same kind of lifestyle that people led maybe a couple hundred years ago, maybe thousands of years ago. Seems like everything in this village has been perfectly preserved. I mean, all of these roofs, for example, are the traditional Li-style roofs. They're supposed to look like upside-down boats because Li people were originally seafaring. And of course, you can see that a lot of the building material is made out of mud and adobe. We've scared off all of the pigs. But even so, not everything is as it seems. Never judge a book by its cover. Ah, that's better. Of course, you don't expect it from looking at the outside. I mean, all you have to do is take one look and realise that this is no longer the traditional hut. I mean, you've got beds here, there's a fridge over there, we've got a proper kitchen, and I'll tell you what, there's even a washing machine. So even though it might seem life could be a bit harsh over here, I would still say that this place is a backpacker haven. Tourism here is still in its infancy, and most of the people that have come have brought their own food and camping gear. As such, the rice harvest is still the main source of income for many of the villagers.一包一般能卖多少啊？
一般能卖100块，130那样。
啊，130啊，那就差不多那个2000块钱嘛，去送这个。
要。
哦，您是靠这个收入，还是还有别的？
还有一点的。
啊。
我也早就移那边了，新房那边。
可是就是还是更习惯。应该，我觉得有可能应该。
Thanks to Hainan's tropical climate, rice can be harvested up to 3 times a year. And although each sack might not sell for much, the cost of living here is low, and people make the best of what they have.
哎，挺好喝，是有点感觉像那种淡茶的味儿是吧？这个叫什么呀？你们就是做也不叫，那你们也做自己的米酒吗？好喝吗？这个我就不说别的，让我们尝尝。
You don't see many visitors around these parts, but the locals are still welcoming towards outsiders. Li people live all over Hainan Island, but I recommend coming here to Dongfang or Changjiang County if you want to set foot in a real Li village here in western Hainan.
哎，您好，修房子呢？哦，这一般修得用多久啊？修房子得用多久？一个月？
哦，有茅草就可以用的。有
茅草就可以。
几天就好了嘛？
几天就好了。那您说这种你们原来这种老房子更方便生活，还是新一点那种？茅草。住新的房子吧。新的在那边。您是更喜欢住草屋还是新的？更方便是吗 ？I guess there's a little bit of a language barrier. From what I gather, it seems that this straw hut belongs to this dude. But I guess it just goes to show that the ethnic Li people are still retaining their kind of ways from centuries ago or so, even their difference in language with us today.
For thousands of years, communities all over the world have used thatch as a reliable type of roof over their heads.
You've got to escape the heat somehow.
And despite being hard to maintain, some of the villagers still prefer these thatched roofs. They provide natural ventilation, keeping the hut cool in summer and comfortable in winter. Although many ethnic Lis now live in modern houses, these boat-shaped huts help to ensure that even without a written history, the Li people will never forget their proud seafaring past. Coming up next, we've got mountain climbing fever as we hike to the top of Western Hainan's highest peak, and then scale a mountain of a very different nature. Around an hour's drive south of the Li villages is Ledong County. It's home to one of the largest tropical forests in Hainan and a popular tourist site here in the west, the Jianfengling Nature Reserve.
Lots of big bends here, but actually the transportation in the west isn't so bad. Pretty much our entire route on the western side of Hainan has been paved over with highways, so it's always been quite convenient for us to get around. But we're on our way up Jianfengling Nature Reserve to stay the night at Tianchi Heavenly Lake, and then tomorrow we're going to go climb up to the top. Hopefully, with any luck, we might be able to see some precious trees. If not, then we'll get a great view. But fingers crossed anyway. Here we are. Get a good night's rest and then up to the peak tomorrow.
The Tianchi Taoyuan Hotel is a popular retreat here, since the surrounding forests and the waters of Tianchi Lake help absorb Hainan's clammy heat. It's a natural source of air conditioning for the hotel's waterfront villas.
Gorgeous here. Feels like I've arrived in some kind of 19th century European villa in the middle of the mountains. Best of all, I'm staying here.
Nothing like a bit of R&R before the big climb tomorrow. Here we go! Jianfengling is home to thousands of species of plants and animals. Some of them are pretty vicious. But don't worry, you won't run into any of them on the 1.8-kilometer walk up to the summit.
Oh, lucky I rested well yesterday, because this isn't a really easy climb. I mean, I'm pretty much climbing twice the height of the world's tallest building by foot. But luckily, there's a lot of tree coverage, so I'm not getting burnt to a crisp. And I've not had a chance to see yet, but some of these trees might actually be some of the oldest in Hainan. So no need to rush, just enjoy.
Even so, I'd make sure to bring at least 2 bottles of water. Because when you're out in the open, it feels like you're hiking through a sauna instead of up a mountain.
Oh my, I'm absolutely bathed in sweat and drenched. You know, the world record for climbing this is just over 17 minutes. I've done about half in an hour, so maybe I'll get it next time. But at least I'm lapping my director, who's pretty much crawling on the floor. Wait for me! Oh. It's like walking through the valley of the wall. Hello! Oh my god. I tell you what, we wouldn't want to be climbing a mountain and then suddenly get lost here at night. Watch your head. Oh! God, that hurts like hell. Oh my god. Not only am I sweating, my brain is pounding like hell now. Whew.
If you've ever wanted to know what it feels like to see the light, come here.
怎么样，景色？很爽啊！ Oh my god.
我给你照一张相，给它发过去吧。
That's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, blimey. It's gorgeous out there, but a little bit windy. And the thing is, we're still not there yet. So I think a couple hundred meters left to go.
Hard to believe that someone only took 17 minutes to get up here. I must be out of shape.
Whoa. Oh my god. Hey! Oh my god. What a view. Man, it's beautiful up here, really. I mean, suddenly the mist just came around and it's... Oh, look at that.
3,000 steps later, and we've got front row seats to one of Jianfengling's natural wonders. It's Cloud Sea. I know it sounds a bit silly, but looking at it made me feel like I was standing on top of the world, even though we were only 1,400 meters high up.
I finally made it. I'm finally the king of the highest mountain in western Hainan. And apparently there are 4 types of seas here. You can get a sea of forests, a sea of clouds, a sea of mists, and a sea. And I like to add a 5th sea, my sea of sweat. But I've got to get a move on because it's going to take another 2 hours to get back down. Okay. Ooh,
some parts of the climb are a bit steep, so we've even had to bring our crew members in to help.
Hey, you okay? That's not easy, man. Careful. Okay.
Time to cool down and head towards the sea. Since Hainan is an island, people here long ago learnt to harness the power of the sea. Its waters provide Hainan's fishermen with a vital source of food and income, while ocean winds power Hainan's burgeoning alternative energy industry. Here at Yingehai, the power of the sun is harnessed to bring out a different fruit of the sea.
What do you reckon this is? I found loads of these weird cubist-looking crystals lying around on the floor. And I'll show you one thing. They're edible. Snow! Lots and lots of snow! Oh, actually, this hurts a lot. Really, really hurts. It's like lots of knives stabbing me. But we've just come from Jinfengling Mountain, and we're making our way across the Luodong Li Autonomous County. And I saw all of this from really far away. And I thought it was snow, but actually, it's lots and lots and lots of salt. Very good fish and chips.
Don't worry, even though I've stepped all over it, this salt will still end up edible after processing. Besides, I bet at least one part of it will end up defreezing roads. Coming up next, we'll strap ourselves into a medieval torture device to get first-hand experience of just how difficult it is to weave the famous Li brocade. Since arriving in Luodong, we visited Jinfengling and the Yingehai salt fields. But there's something else we've also come to see here in this Li Autonomous County.
So we arrived in Luodong Township last night, and it's looking a bit muggy today, which means for the first time we might actually get some rain here in western Hainan. And today we're going to head towards Tianjia town, which is about 20 kilometers drive from here, to see this, which is a very special Li ethnicity craft.
Li people are famous for their embroidery, and the skill of weaving their brocade has been passed down from mother to daughter for around 3,000 years.
Hey, 你好。
我以前跟我老妈、外婆学习了，85开始。
This lady is a famous inheritor of the Li weaving skills in this village.
这个是人，这个蝙蝠，这个是人，这是李人。
那这个是什么时候穿的？
这个这个白沙漠盆啊，你把沙漠往外的母亲石啊，就用这种给那个洗衣粉酸。
比如说生日也会有吗？还是都是那种最大的节日？
就是这种嘛，什么都是有这种了。这些都是人家结婚了，我们就酸这颗喜酒。
那您接着学吗？
学。
这个不能忘掉的。
不能忘掉。这是我们黎族的史代，但也不用忘掉这个图案，那个传统的图案。
有没有自己创造的图案呢？
自己创造图案，我就去卖了。
The business is booming in this, but I can totally imagine it takes such a long time to weave one of these. And if you look at these really intricate patterns, then you can totally understand one of these pieces costing maybe upwards of 10,000.
这是火箭，飞上天。
火箭哦。
火箭飞上天。
这个很现代化。
这个是蜻蜓都蝴蝶都可以飞呀，蜻蜓啊，它可以飞呀。这个是表达就在下面的排起队来，唱起歌来，跳舞来，就热闹闹嘛。
热闹闹。
结婚嘛。
So there's a weave for what it seems to be every single occasion here, which is pretty incredible, really. And it just makes me wonder whether in 200 years you might suddenly see me and a camera here. Who knows?
The brocades are typically turned into women's skirts or bags, but weaving them is no easy feat. They're made in the same way as they were thousands of years ago, using an ancient device, the waist loom. To me, it just looks like a bundle of oversized chopsticks, but each stick has a thread attached to it, and in the right hands can create intricate patterns.
I must say, I've never seen brocade being made this way. Every other time I've seen it, it's always been on a loom and inside, for that fact. But this is really special. I don't really know how they do this.
Amazingly, each of these ladies have memorized the patterns they're going to weave, so everything is done off by heart. Not only do you need deft hands, but also intense concentration, since one wrong thread will mess up the entire brocade. With such an intricate process, it can take an entire year just to make one skirt. Well, if you're in a rush, it could be done in 6 months, provided you're weaving 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a slow and tiring process, both mentally and physically. And since the ladies are sitting in this position all the time, a lot of them end up with back and shoulder problems. The result of all this hard work, though, is an expertly woven piece of art. Prices for a skirt start at around 3,000 RMB. Not much at all, considering someone spent a year of their life working on it. There are even international visitors who come here especially to buy these brocades.
I'm gonna get a lesson from a real expert. 我先压压腿，好吧？我先。以防万一。你做那整这样，你量20分钟，你起来就起不来了。我20分钟不用，2分钟就不行了。See, it might look easy, but there's a lot of work that goes into this, and it's incredible that this kind of handmade, foot-made loom has still managed to retain its original flair for over, I think, 2,000 years? I'm not quite sure exactly how long, but I think I'm going to ruin it now. Feels like 很累，我已经感觉到了。It feels like wearing a... Oh, it's like wearing a corset. 哎呦！剁掉了。拉紧了，搞紧了，那个。哟哟，搞我打乱了。I'm so afraid of ruining this because it takes close to a year to make this skirt, and it costs loads and loads and loads of money. So if I make one mistake, then that's a year's hard work gone down the drain just because of this idiot. 你都不懂搞了，你的脚都不会踩嘛，它那个花跟那个都不出来了嘛。我搞不了。搞不了了，起来了。There's no way I could become a Lee woman. I'll give you that one. 哎呀。你感觉辛苦吧？我觉得非常辛苦，我都不敢起来了。I'll give up on that one. My waist, my old waist. I find it amazing that despite all the difficulties, Lee brocade still remains today. And if it weren't for the weaving skills of the Lee people, one of China's most famous women, Huang Daopo, would never have been heard of. Born in the 13th century to a poor family in what is now Shanghai, she spent 30 years learning the Lee way of weaving. After returning home, she helped to revolutionize China's textiles industry by teaching the skills she'd acquired. It might not have the same effect as Huang Daopo, but I'm learning a skill too. Paper cutting!
with these middle schoolers. We're all drawing scenes depicting everyday life in a Li village. A pretty fun way to learn about Li culture, I think. What do you think about my masterpiece? Although the weaving skills of the Li people once inspired all of China, these days they're dangerously close to being lost. With modern clothing being so easy to make and cheap to purchase, many young Li women are reluctant to take up weaving. But there is hope yet. Tourism has made people here realise the importance of protecting their unique cultural heritage, and also provides a viable source of income for those with the right skill set. And through other methods, like teaching Li kids about their cultural history through paper cutting, the future looks bright for their culture and the traditions of this unique ethnic minority.
I think as a traveller, you always want to find things for yourself, discover new things, not tread down a path that's been trodden by other people. And to be honest, every single day here in Western China has been like that. And we've even found traditions that have lasted for thousands of years, but are on the verge of dying out. But even so, there are always ways of keeping them alive, do they? Yeah! Yeah! There we go. So, that's the end of this episode of Travelogue. And I hope to see you again on the next episode when we head to Sanya.